guys, welcome to Defectors Creations. This is a YouTube channel where I teach how to draft, I teach how to cut, I teach how to sew. We talk about sewing and fashion as a whole. Please, if this is your first time of coming across my channel on YouTube, do me the favor, the big favor of subscribing to my channel. You could also click on the notification bell so that you can get uploaded whenever you can get updated whenever a new video is uploaded. So, and to my subscribers, my existing subscribers, I thank you for your love, your support. You've been wonderful. Thanks for being there. I love you all. Yes, I love you guys. Thank you very much. Without you, there's no Defectors. Please like, share, and comment on my videos. Ask questions. Let me know what kind of videos you want to watch so that I can work towards producing them, uploading them. So today today's video is going to be on how to draft and as well cut a two-layered dress for a girl of 3. How to draft, how to cut a two-layered dress, a two-tiered dress for a girl of 3. The two-tiered will be the skirt, which is going to be attached to the bodies, and it's going to be 2 layers. It's going to have 2 steps. That's just what it simply means. And the measurements I'll consider today are 9 for the shoulder. She doesn't have a breast. She doesn't have bust. She has chest, because children don't have bust. They have chest. So the chest circumference here will be 21, and the waist circumference would be 19. The total length gown would be 26. So the total length gown will be 26 inches. So now I have my fabric cut already, ironed, cut to shape, and they are bits and pieces because they are left over from the mother's fabric. You can see that's what makes sewing for children more interesting. You actually get to work with bits and pieces of fabric and it becomes whole. So now let's get into the drafting proper. As you can see, I have attached the lining to the fabric itself. I want to cut both at once. Like I said, the neckline, I want to measure my starting point. Look at it. I'll measure 1 as starting point here. And that's because I know I have fabric that can cater for it. Now, how do you go about it? You divide that bust measurement, the chest rather. I'm used to sewing for adults. The chest by 4. Okay? You're going to divide a chest by 4. A chest circumference by 4, and you add 1 inch seam allowance to it. That will be the 1 inch would be used to join the front and the back panels together. So that is what we need the 1 inch for. Now, in this case, a half length, the half length I'm considering using is 9 inches. I would use 9 inches. So I'll mark on the lining. But the first thing we have to confirm is the 9 inches. Do I have enough provision for 9 inches? And I also have to include sewing allowance to it. The sewing allowance would be needed to join the bodies to the skirt. I'll need half an inch sewing allowance here at the waist area. Now look at it. This is the 9 inches, and this is going to be half an inch seam allowance. So I have enough. Once you know, if you are marking on fabric, you need to be very careful and get your measurements accurate, because once it's done, and you might find it difficult to amend your mistakes. So look at it. Now this is the 9 inches. I'm just going to mark it this way. That's my 9 inches, and this is representing the waistline. Now this is the starting point. At my starting point, what do? I'll divide a shoulder measurement of 9 by 2, which is 4.5. And one funny thing with children is that they might be of the same age and not have the same stature. That is why it's some are chubby, some are slim, some are taller, even at 3, at 4, some are taller. They are not of the same sizes. So I always recommend and advise that you measure before you cut. Sometimes standard charts don't work for them. So I'll go ahead to mark 4.5. Look at it. This is 4.5. And I want to use 2 3/4 for a neck width. I don't want a wide neck. 2 3/4 for a neck width. I could use 2.5 as well. Okay, let's see. Let me use 2.5 for her. Okay, now at this shoulder, at the edge here, I'll drop it down by something close to 1/2 inch, and that is because their shoulders are also not straight. I'll use 1/2 inch here. Look at it. Now from this point, I'll drop it by 4 because our armhole, the armhole I want to use is 8. So I'm going to drop it by 4 here. Look at it. I come down by 4 here. And what do I do at that? After marking 4, all I'll need to do is come down here as well to mark the 4.5 I used for the shoulder. So this is 4.5. I'm going to connect both this way. Can you see? I've connected both. Now, I want to find the midpoint in order to create a armhole. This is it. This is the midpoint. And for a kid, I don't go in by too much. I don't come inwards the way I do for adults. So look at it. This is close to 1/2 inch. Why? I'm making a sleeveless dress for her, and I don't want to expose her body. I don't. It doesn't look funny when your little girl wears an outfit and the whole armpit is outside, and especially when it's not the chubby type. So I like a moderate curve for the armhole. Look at it. Just use something at most 1/2 inch here, at most 1/2 inch. So this is the curve. Look at it. Now I'm going to come here as well to mark that bust the chest measurement divided by 4. Why? This fabric is folded in 2 and it is catering for the front. I folded it in 2 to cater for the front. Can you see? This is what I mean. It's in 2 to cater for the front. So what is our bust measurement? 21. I like adding 1 to that 21 for ease of movement, and they tend to grow very fast. And adults wear clothes, fitted clothes, and looks very beautiful. But kids, when the clothes fit too closely, like the way our own clothes fit to conform with our body size, it doesn't look too good on kids when their clothes fit too closely. There's no body shape they are revealing. So I like adding 1 inch to the chest measurement. Now if I add 1 inch to that 21, I have 22. Now 22 would be divided by 2. Don't forget that this fabric is folded in 2, and I'm catering for the front part here. So I have 22 here. What do? I divide my 11 further by 2, and I have 5.5. This is 5.5, catering for the chest, for the front, and I will add 1 inch for seam, sewing the front to the back. I deliberately used fabric so that people can understand at least when you have leftover fabric, you can do something similar for your girl, provided you know how to measure. At the waist, our waist is 19 inches. Now the 19 inches, I'll add 1 to it as well, and it will become 20. The outfit is going to have a belt. It will become 20. And if I divide 20 by 4, I would have exactly 5 inches. Okay, I would have 5 inches. So I'll go ahead to add 1 inch for seam as well, and you connect. You can just use your free hand. It's simple, and you can as well use your ruler. You can see that the difference between their chest and waist is not much. Look at it. Now, this is the neckline. I can decide to use a neck depth, it depends on the style you are making. But in this case, I'll use a neck depth of 3 inches. Depth, that is how deep my neck is. I'll use 3 inches. Look at it. This is my neck depth of 3 inches, and I'll connect to that 2.5 inch. Let me measure again so that I can, so this is 2.5. The 2.5 I measured earlier. I want to connect to it. Don't mind this pin. Let me remove the pin. And tuck it so. Yeah. So this is what it's going to look like. So this is it. And I'll now go ahead to make my curve. Can you see? Yeah. If you think you are not comfortable with the neck depth, you could choose to go inwards by maybe 1/4 of an inch again. You understand? That is, if you think this neck depth is too low for you, you can just go up. I used exactly 3. Look at it. You could choose to go upwards. You can use 2 3/4 as well. Look at it. It's just simple. Just get your chalk to modify. You can use 2 3/4 if you are not satisfied with the neck depth you got. If you think it is going to be too deep, use 2 3/4. Now look at it. I've adjusted mine to 2 3/4. I could use 2 3/4 or 3. Now at the shoulder line, I don't want a reduction in my shoulder. I have to provide for seam so that my shoulder wouldn't be reduced. I'll provide so that the armhole measurement would not be reduced. I'll provide for sewing the front shoulder to the back shoulder. So I'll provide 1/2 of an inch seam allowance here. I'll go upwards. I'll simply go upwards by 1/2, and here as well by 1/2. I'll connect both together. Can you see? It's as simple as this. Just connect together. Now I've joined. So this is what I'm going to sew, and I'll still retain the original measurement I had. And don't forget that I've catered for 1/2 here by using 9.5. I've provided 1/2 an inch here as well. What do? I'll just go ahead to cut my fabric out. Please measure for accuracy. There won't be room for mistakes. Don't go in too deep, please. Now connect this way. Can you see the way I'm going? Good. It's as simple as this. And I've provided for side seam allowances. Please don't forget. Cut it out. 1 inch. I used 1 inch. And this is what it looks like. So I'm going to come here, remove this as well. I'll cut it off because it's the excess. If you know you have a girl, a very young child, and you have leftover fabric, do something meaningful with it. They don't take much fabric. It depends on the style anyway. Now I'm going to use this 2 3/4 I measured. Connect. So it's as simple as this. It's as simple as this. This is the front part of it. And by the time you join the shoulders, you still retain your measurement. Can you see? You still retain that measurement you have. So Let's keep this here and come to the back. I decided to separate for clarity. So you come to the back and we are using the same chest, waist. The only difference will be the length. I'm going to use 8¾ length here instead of the 9 I used for the front. I'll use 8¾ for the back. 8¾ is what I'm going to use for the back. So let's have a starting point here too. Let's just go in by now you have realized, you've seen why I left that starting point. It's just for shoulders, for the shoulder. That's where I'll mark my shoulder. And once again, I'll go ahead to input the values I used for the front. Here, 4½. What it means is your shoulder divided by 2. You dropped it, I dropped it this way. Now I'm going to have to measure this as well. I know I used 2½. Now connect. So drop it downwards by 4 inches. By 4 inches. Now come to this chest line. Input the 5½ you used for the front plus your 1 inch seam allowance. Please make sure the fabric you folded can cater for this. Mine can, because I actually measured before folding, so mine can cater for it, please. Now the half length for the back, like I said, is 8¾ Look at it. I would add ½ inch to that 8¾ and I will have 9¼ The ½ inch, like you know now, is for seam allowance to join your bodice to your skirt. Look at it. So 9¼ 9¼ Can you see? This is what 9¼ looks like. So I would have to trim the leftover off. But let me input my values first. I used 5 here plus 1 for seam, for attaching the front to the back. I know people like watching videos on when you cut on fabric, so I'm happy doing this. That way you understand, you have a clearer understanding of how it works. So now I used 4½ for the shoulders. That's 9 divided by 2. Come here, mark that 4½ as well. Connect to where you dropped your shoulder. Look at it. Yes. So can you see? Now here, you don't need to go inwards. Their backs differ from their front as well. Don't go inward. Just give it just curve it. Come out towards this way. That's all you need to do. Can you see it's simple? Aha, it's very simple. Now your neckline, it depends on your styles. If on the style of the outfit you are making. If you want a deep neckline, something, don't be too deep for a child. You need decent, moderate clothes for kids as well. At least decent enough clothes. So the neckline depends on the style you are making. So in this case, I'll just come downwards by 1½. 1½. I'm trying to see whether I got the measurements right. Can you see? Now I'll go ahead to remove that pin, which is kind of obstructing me. And the next thing to do before I forget is to go upwards for my shoulder slope to provide ½ inch seam allowance for the shoulder too. So that's what we would use to join the front to our back. Can you see? Now mark that neckline, mark the curve. You need affix pins, so you can't do without them. You keep remove, you just remove. If it obstructs, remove and put elsewhere. So look at it. Just come inwards, get your curve. You can go deeper, it depends on the style you are making, but I'm comfortable with this. And what do? I cut out. Be careful, especially with your sharp scissors. Don't forget that when you draft directly on fabric, your mistake is made already. There's no remedy. So don't forget your seam allowances, they are necessary. Make sure that before you fold your clothes, you've measured, you are sure of the value before folding and cutting. You're sure that it can cater for the the actual measurement and the seam, just like mine. So, and the seam allowance, like I did before cutting. Look at it. Now, see? Once again, the rule of sewing is measure twice, cut once. Look at it. Measure again to be sure of your 9¼ you can see before you cut, because once it's gone, it's gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. So that's just it. I'll notch my neckline. I folded 1¼ sorry, I didn't mention that. I folded 1¼ for zip at the back. I folded 1¼ for zip at the back. Look at it. This is the zip allowance. I folded it before I even started measuring. I'm sorry, I should have told you this earlier. This is the provision for the zip. I made this, I ironed it before cutting. I folded it in 1¼ inch. So you make sure you have your zip allowance there, or if it's going to be button, see, I'm going to split this in two now. I'll cut it in two. Please provide for zip allowance. See, I've cut this is the back. See how fine it looks. And I interfaced my fabric. Can you see? That's just the reason why I didn't cut on that face. I interfaced it because it's going to carry a lot of weight. By the time you put a 2-tiered skirt on very light Ankara fabric and you wash that Ankara once, you won't like the look of the body slit again. It would be very soft. So I like interfacing, using light interfacing for my Ankara fabrics when it's going to have more than one skirt layer. Now, look at it. This is the lining. I'll cut that out as well, because I did what I did. I repeated the same thing for the lining. I provided 1¼ for zip allowance. So I've cut that out. So this will be the lining piece. Can you see? That's the lining, and this is the fabric. This is the fabric. So look at it. This is the fabric, and that is the lining. Look at both. Can you see? Now, because I used 3/4 for the back, 8¾ for the back, and I used 9 for the front, I'm going to come here at the edge here and go upwards this way. I'll go upwards by that quarter. The difference is a quarter. I used 9 for the front, and I used 8¾ for the back. So in order for the sides to align, the sides here to align, I'll just go upwards here by 1/4 inch, so that the front and back sides can match. So that is it. Just come here. That's difference. 9 minus 8¾ that is the difference. 9 minus 8¾ is the difference. Just come here and go upwards by 1/4 inch. Look at my quarter. It's going to look slim, but you need to cut it off. just come this way, remove that quarter so that your front and back piece can match, just this way. Look at it. So that's all you need to do. That way your front and back piece will be the same at the sides. Can you see? It's going to be the same at the sides, and this will just go upwards a bit. So that's all there is to know on how to cut the bodies. I would stop here, and there will be another video showing how to draft the two-tiered skirt, because I don't want this video to be too long. So if you have enjoyed this video, do give it a thumbs up. Please share my videos, please like my videos, and most important, subscribe to my videos. Once again, this is Defedas Creations, and I love you guys for your support. Bye.